My name is Zelma Cade. I am 64 years old. And today, in the middle of my own living room, my daughter-in-law slapped me across the face and demanded my house keys. My cheek was still burning when her hand dropped back to her side. The sound of it still floated in the air, sharp and ugly. The curtains were open, letting in the soft afternoon light, but everything around me felt dark and small. "Give me the keys, Miss Zelma," she said. Her name is Narelle. She stood over me in my own house, tall and thin, her hair tied up, gold bracelet shining on her wrist like she had earned something. "This is not a game. We need this house now. Hand them over." For a moment I just stared at her. The remote slipped from my fingers and hit the wooden floor. My knees shook. I had raised one son, worked 3 jobs, buried my husband, and paid off this small brick house in the quiet town of Alder Springs. I had seen hard days. But no one had ever put a hand on my face like that. Before I go deeper into what happened and how everything fell apart, let me talk to you for a second. I want you to feel like you are sitting right here with me. My name is Zelma, and this is my story. If you love emotional true life stories and you want to hear how a mother fights back with quiet strength, make sure you tap the subscribe button right now. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next part of my life. Like this video so more people can see it, and tell me in the comments where you are watching from. Are you in the South, the East Coast, the West, or the Midwest? Let me know in the comments so I can see my family from all over the country standing with me. Now let me take you back to that moment. My left eye watered from the sting. I pressed my fingers to my cheek and felt the heat under my skin. My body wanted to shake, but I did not let it. I had promised myself a long time ago that I would not fall apart in front of anybody again. "Narelle," I whispered. "What did you just do?" She did not look sorry. Not one bit. She crossed her arms over her chest, her long nails tapping on her elbow. Behind her, my son Lennox stood near the doorway, not saying a word. His shoulders were tight, his jaw hard, his eyes looking everywhere but at me. "Mama, please," he said at last. "Just give her the keys." I turned my head slowly to look at him. The boy I had carried on buses at 4 in the morning so I could open up the diner. The boy I had sat with on hospital benches when his asthma was bad. The boy who used to stand on my feet and dance in the kitchen to old soul music. Now he stood at the door of my living room like a stranger. "Lennox," I said, my voice shaking. "You just let her put her hands on me in my own house." He flinched but did not step forward. "Mama, you making this harder than it has to be," he said. "We talked about this." "No," I said, my voice growing stronger. "You talked. You and your wife talked. You did not listen to me." Narelle rolled her eyes and walked over to the little bowl on the side table where I kept my keys. It was a glass bowl my husband Wells had bought me at a yard sale our first year in this house, back when our money was tight and our love was big. She reached for the keys like the bowl belonged to her. I pushed myself up from the armchair faster than my knees liked. Pain shot up my legs, but I did not care. I grabbed the bowl before she could. The keys rattled like a soft bell between us. "You do not touch that," I told her. "This house is mine." Her eyes were cold. "You think we want to put you out on the street, Miss Zelma? We are trying to help you. You can go to a place where they take care of older people. They will cook for you, clean for you. You will not be alone. Meanwhile, we can finally move into a real family home and stop paying rent. A home I worked for," I said. "A home your husband grew up in. A home I broke my back for." Lennox sighed, running a hand over his face. "Mama, the bills are too much," he said. "The taxes, the repairs. You said yourself the roof leaking. You are getting tired. We can sell this place and start fresh." I stared at him, my heart pounding in my ears. "You think I worked 40 years just to give this house away like a used coat?" I asked. He did not answer. That was answer enough. I looked around my living room. The old brown couch with the tear on the arm where the dog we used to have scratched it. The family pictures lining the wall, my baby Lennox with no front teeth, My husband in his blue church suit, me in my diner uniform smiling like my feet did not hurt. The big window that looked out on the pecan tree in the front yard. I had planted that tree the week we moved in. Everything in that room held a piece of my life. You do not get to slap me and talk about helping me, I said softly. Narelle laughed under her breath. You are being dramatic. You would not listen. You were clutching those keys like your life depended on them. It does, I said. I could feel something rise in me then, something I had pushed down for years. All the times I had stayed quiet to keep the peace. All the times I had told myself I would speak up next time. All the times I had swallowed my hurt when people took from me. Wells had been gone for 8 years now. Heart attack on a hot summer day. It had been me and this house and my memories since then. And now my son and his wife stood here like hunters looking at land. Lennox, I said again, my voice shaking now not from fear but from anger. Did you tell her she could put her hands on me? He shook his head quickly. No. Mama. I told her not to. Then why are you still standing over there? I asked. The room went quiet. For a moment I heard the refrigerator hum, the clock ticking on the wall, the faint sound of kids playing down the street. Narelle stepped closer to me, lowering her voice. If you do not give me those keys, she said, we are going to have to do this the hard way. A chill ran down my arms. The hard way. What is the hard way? I asked, my fingers gripping the bowl so tight I thought it might break. She smiled, a small smile that did not reach her eyes. Then she looked at my son. Tell her. Lennox. He swallowed, looked at the floor, then finally met my eyes. Mama, he said, his voice small. The papers are already filed. Papers, I repeated slowly. My mouth tasted like metal. What papers? He took a step forward, pulling a folded envelope from his pocket. It is for your own good, he said. He held it out to me. My hands refused to move. I stared at the envelope like it was a snake. What did you do, Lennox? I whispered. Before he could answer, there was a loud knock at the front door. 3 heavy knocks that made the picture frames on the wall tremble. Narelle's smile grew wider. Right on time, she said. I turned toward the door, my heart racing so fast I felt lightheaded. Through the thin glass beside the door, I saw the outline of 2 strangers standing on my front porch, tall shapes in dark clothing. One of them lifted a hand again like they were ready to knock a second time. I did not know it yet, but whoever was on that porch was about to change everything I thought I knew about my son, my house, and my own future. The second knock shook something deep inside me. It was louder than the first, heavier, like whoever stood outside had no intention of waiting quietly. I felt the air around me shift. My chest tightened. I held the bowl of keys against my stomach as if it were a shield. Narelle walked toward the door with a confidence that made me sick. Lennox stayed behind her, shoulders curled in like a boy who knew he had done something wrong but didn't have the courage to stop it. Who is that? I asked, but my voice came out thin. Narelle didn't turn around. It's just something we had to take care of. Take care of how? I whispered. She reached for the doorknob, her fingers tapping impatiently. She didn't open it right away. She looked back at me first, her eyes sharp. Miss Zelma, don't start making this harder. I stood rooted in place. My legs were trembling, but I pressed my feet into the floor like a tree refusing to be uprooted. The door opened. 2 people stepped in. A man and a woman. The man was tall, wide in the shoulders, wearing a dark jacket and carrying a clipboard. The woman had her hair pulled back and wore a badge clipped to her belt. They both looked around like this was their house and they were just checking on it. Afternoon, ma'am, the woman said. Are you Mrs. Zelma Cade? I didn't answer right away. My throat felt too tight. Yes, I finally said. That's me. The man opened the clipboard and flipped a page. He didn't smile. He didn't nod. He didn't look at me like a human being. He looked at me like a task. We're here about the welfare review, he said. Welfare review, I repeated, staring at Lennox. He froze. couldn't look at me. The woman stepped forward gently, as if she thought I was fragile. We received a report, she said, that you may not be able to safely live alone anymore. My mouth dropped. My hand shook so badly the keys rattled in the glass bowl. A report from who? I asked. Narelle folded her arms with the same cold smile she had earlier. We were worried about you, she said softly. No. No, no, no. My voice grew louder. You called these people on me. You filed a report behind my back. The man cleared his throat. It's standard procedure, ma'am. We just need to confirm if you're capable of managing your home and personal needs. I stared at him like he was speaking another language. Capable. After everything I had lived through. After everything I had held together with my own hands. Capable. The woman glanced around the living room, as if she were checking for something out of place. A pillow on the couch. A glass on the coffee table. Anything she could turn into a reason to take control. We just need to ask you a few questions, she said kindly. I took a slow step back. Then another. I shook my head. No. You cannot come in here and question my life like I'm a child. Narelle shrugged. Miss Zelma, you left us no choice. I snapped my head toward her. No choice. The man raised a hand. Ma'am, we don't want trouble. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, I finished for him. He paused. Yes. I put the bowl of keys on the table behind me and straightened my back. For a moment, I felt Wells standing behind me the way he used to when someone tried to push me around. His quiet strength rose inside me. You listen to me, I said slowly. My voice was steady now. I have lived in this house for over 30 years. I cook my own food. I pay my own bills. I walk, I clean, I write checks. I do not need a stranger telling me if I can manage. The woman nodded slowly. I hear you. Truly, I do. But this report. I turned to Lennox. This report came from my child. My own child. He opened his mouth but nothing came out. Narelle spoke for him. We are trying to help you. Help. That word sat between us like poison. I took another step back. My heart was pounding so loudly I heard it in my ears. My vision was sharp, almost too sharp. I could see every detail in the room. That's when the woman noticed something behind me. She tilted her head. Is that blood on your cheek? She asked. I froze. My hand slowly went up to my face. The sting from the slap was still there. And yes, she had hit me hard enough to break the skin. The woman's eyes widened. Did someone strike you? Before I could speak, Lennox stepped forward fast. It was an accident, he said quickly. She bumped into a cabinet. Narelle nodded. Yes, that's all. The woman's expression changed. Doubt. Suspicion. Concern. Did you bump into something? She asked gently. This was the moment. A simple yes could end everything. They would leave. Narelle would get what she wanted. Lennox would get to pretend he didn't betray me. Or I could tell the truth. I opened my mouth, but the words trembled inside me. All the years of swallowing pain, making excuses, keeping the peace, they choked me now. The woman stepped closer. Mrs. Cade, I need an honest answer. Did someone lay a hand on you? Silence. Everyone stared at me. Lennox. Narelle. The two strangers with the clipboard and badge. I felt the room spinning slowly. My knees were weak. My hands were cold. Then I heard myself say the words. Yes. Someone hit me. The man looked at Lennox sharply. The woman blinked hard. Narelle's jaw tightened. The woman spoke again, her voice firmer now. Who hit you? More silence. It felt like the longest silence of my life. I looked at my son. The boy I had raised with my own hands. The boy I had protected from every storm. He stared back at me with pleading eyes. Then my eyes slid to his wife. And right then, The front door swung open wider. Because someone else had just walked into my house. Someone none of us expected. Someone whose presence made Narelle's face fall and Lennox's shoulders freeze. And when I saw who it was, the breath left my body. I whispered one word. You. The room erupted in gasps. The story was far from over. The air in the room shifted the moment that person stepped through the door. It was like the house itself exhaled. My knees nearly gave out. For a second, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. But no. He was real. He was standing right there in my doorway. My brother, Harlan. Tall. Broad shoulders. Grey beard trimmed sharp. Dark leather jacket. Boots still dusty from whatever road he had walked. I hadn't seen him in 11 years. Not since the day we buried our mother and he left town without goodbye. Narelle's face drained of color. Lennox tensed like a child who had just been caught lying. The two welfare agents looked confused, like they'd stepped into the wrong house at the wrong time. But me. My whole world flipped. Harlan walked in fully, closing the door behind him with one firm push. His eyes scanned the room. First the strangers. Then Lennox. Then Narelle. Then finally me. Z, he said softly. Only he ever called me that. My throat tightened. My eyes stung. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. The woman with the badge cleared her throat first. Sir, who are you? Harlan pulled out his wallet and showed something. She leaned in, eyebrows lifting. You work with? Yes, he said. I'm with them. The man with the clipboard stepped back. They both looked unsure, almost nervous now. He didn't tell them what department he worked for. He didn't have to. His badge said enough. Narelle tried to recover. Harlan, she said, forcing a smile. We didn't know you were coming. He didn't look at her. Instead, he walked toward me. Slow. Controlled. Like a man walking through a minefield. Z, he said again, his voice lower now. You all right? When he reached me, he didn't touch my cheek. He didn't make a scene. He just stood beside me like a wall. A solid wall that had finally come home. I nodded, but my eyes were burning. He looked at the two welfare agents. Who filed the report? The woman opened her folder. It came from a family member. She didn't have to finish. Everyone looked at Lennox. My son stepped back, lips trembling. Harlan's eyes narrowed, but he didn't speak. Not yet. The woman continued. We were told she might be unsafe living alone, and that there were signs of memory loss and neglect. Memory loss. Neglect. My stomach twisted. I do not have memory loss, I said. And I am not neglected. The woman sighed. That's why we were here, ma'am. To confirm. Harlan spoke. You will not be confirming anything today. The man frowned. Sir, we are allowed to check. Not without proper cause. Harlan cut in. And not when the report was filed with false information. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight. A voice trained to make people listen. Narelle stepped forward now, her tone sharp. You don't know what you're talking about. The report is true. She can't live here alone anymore. She forgets things. She leaves the stove on. I snapped my head toward her. That is a lie. She smirked. Is it? Harlan's jaw tightened. Answer carefully. Narelle scoffed. We're trying to help her. Help, I repeated. You slapped me across my face. The room fell dead silent. The woman's eyes widened. Narelle pointed quickly at Lennox. She hit the cabinet. I told you. The woman shook her head. We heard her clearly. She said she was hit. Lennox stepped forward now, voice shaky. Mama. Listen. We didn't mean. Harlan snapped his attention to him. You put your hands on your mother. No, I didn't, Lennox said quickly. It was Narelle. I told her not to. I swear I told her. Narelle rounded on him. Oh, so now you throwing me under the bus. The two agents exchanged a look. Trouble. That's what they saw. And they were right. The woman closed her folder. Given the circumstances, we cannot continue this assessment today. She looked at me. If you need help, ma'am, we can connect you with resources. I straightened my back. I do not need help. I need my family to stop trying to take what I built. The man nodded awkwardly. We will file a note that today's visit was inconclusive. That was a polite way of saying they were stepping out of a mess they didn't want to be part of. Within seconds, they were gone. The door shut behind them. And the house fell into a thick, painful silence. Narelle spoke first. Well, that was unnecessary. Harlan slowly turned to face her. You laid hands on my sister. His voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that makes the air colder. Narelle tried to laugh. It wasn't even that serious. She was being stubborn. The next words out of Harlan's mouth were flat. You're done here. She froze. What? Lennox paled. Uncle, please. Harlan didn't raise his voice. Pack your things. Both of you. You are leaving this house today. Narelle's hand flew to her chest. You can't kick us out. We live here now. You don't live anywhere you weren't invited, he said. Zelma never gave you permission. This house is hers. Narelle tried to step forward, but something about the look in Harlan's eyes stopped her cold. Then she switched tactics. Fine. If you kick us out, she said, then we'll finish the process. We'll get the house anyway. The papers are filed. She looked at Lennox, expecting him to back her up. Tell him, baby. But Lennox didn't say a word. He just stared at the floor. Narelle jabbed her finger into his shoulder. Tell him. Lennox whispered, I don't think we should do this anymore. Narelle's face twisted. Oh, now you grow a conscience. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The air felt stretched thin. Then Harlan turned toward me, his voice low. Z. You want them gone. I swallowed hard. Yes. He nodded once. Then they're leaving. Narelle laughed bitterly. Over my dead. Before she could finish, Harlan reached into his jacket and pulled out a document. A thick stack of papers. He tossed them onto the table. They slid across the wood and stopped in front of her. What is that? She asked. His answer made everyone freeze. The real papers. The ones that decide who owns this house. My breath caught. Lennox's head snapped up. Narelle blinked fast. What do you mean? She demanded. Those papers we filed. Harlan cut her off. Were intercepted. By me. Narelle's mouth fell open. You can't do that. He lifted one eyebrow. Already did. She snatched the papers and flipped through them, her hands shaking. This isn't possible. You don't have that authority. Harlan stared at her coldly. You have no idea what authority I have. I felt the room tilt. Not from fear. From relief. From shock. From the truth finally shifting in my direction. Harlan turned back to me. Z, I'm here now. And nobody is taking your home. Before I could speak, before I could even breathe, Narelle's voice sliced the air. This isn't over. None of this is over. She grabbed her bag. Stormed toward the hallway. Then she shot back the kind of look that makes your skin crawl. And she hissed one sentence that made my heart stutter. I know things about this family you don't. And if I open my mouth, everything you think you know will fall apart. I gripped the edge of the table. What things? I asked. What are you talking about? She stepped closer, smiling like a shark. Ask your brother. The entire room froze. I turned slowly toward Harlan. His face went still. Too still. And in that stillness I felt it. The beginning of a truth I wasn't ready for. A truth that would break open everything. I whispered. Harlan. What is she talking about? He didn't answer. And that silence was the real danger. Harlan's silence hit the room harder than any slap, any shout, any threat. It was a silence that carried weight. A silence that held history. A silence that said, yes, there is something he has not told me. My chest tightened. My hands shook. The room suddenly felt too small. Narelle saw the confusion on my face and used it like a weapon. She leaned one shoulder against the wall, arms folded, smiling like a woman who just lit a fuse and walked away. You think this is about keys, Miss Zelma, she said softly. No. This is about secrets. Your family's secrets. I stared at Harlan. His eyes were locked on the floor, jaw clenched so tight it looked painful. He didn't speak. Lennox stepped between them nervously. Narelle, stop. But she pushed his hand away like he was nothing but air. I told you, she murmured. I only play dumb when it benefits me. And this house. Her eyes slid back to Harlan. Has more history than you think. I felt the back of my throat go dry. Because something in the way she said it wasn't a lie. I forced my voice out. What do you know, Narelle? She smiled. Not from me. Not yet. You need to hear it from him. She pointed at Harlan, her finger sharp as a knife. Tell her. Tell her what you did. The floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. My heart thudded hard enough to hurt. Harlan raised his head slowly. Too slowly. His eyes were full of something I had never seen in him. Fear. Not anger. Not guilt. Fear. And that scared me more than anything else. I stepped closer to him. My voice shook. Harlan. What is she talking about? He opened his mouth. But no words came out. He closed it again. Looked away. That silence pierced through me like a blade. Narelle let out a cold laugh. Oh, look at that. Big strong Harlan doesn't want to talk. But he sure wanted to block our documents, didn't he? Lennox snapped at her, voice cracking. Enough. Please. She spun around. Enough. You think your uncle is a hero. He's hiding something from all of you. And if she knew. She pointed at me again. She would never look at him the same way. I felt dizzy. Like the walls were moving. Like the room was full of smoke. I turned back to my brother. Harlan. Look at me. Slowly. Painfully. He lifted his eyes to mine. And what I saw there broke something inside me. Guilt. Regret. Sorrow. So much sorrow. My voice dropped to a whisper. What did you do? He inhaled deeply. Finally ready to speak. But before a single word left his mouth, a loud crash exploded behind us. Glass shattered. The entire house shook. Something heavy hit the floor in the hallway. We all spun toward the noise. My heart leaped into my throat. Then came a second crash. Louder than the first. Followed by a scream. A long, sharp scream that froze every muscle in my body. Narelle's hand flew to her mouth. Lennox stumbled backward. Even Harlan's face changed. Eyes narrowing, body stiffening. It came from the back of the house. From my bedroom. For a moment, no one moved. Then Harlan reached behind his jacket, instinctively, like a man ready for danger. But he stopped when he saw all our eyes on him. I didn't know what he was reaching for. He stepped toward the hallway. Slow. Prepared. Focused. Stay here, he said. But I took a step forward. No. This is my house. I'm coming. He gave me a look, sharp and warning. Z. But I didn't stop. I followed him into the hallway. Each step slower than the one before. My heart pounding so hard it echoed in my ears. The smell hit me first. Not smoke, not food, not chemicals. Dust. And something else. Something old. We reached the doorway of my bedroom. My breath caught. Because the room was a mess. Drawers thrown open. clothes scattered across the floor, my jewelry box overturned, and my late husband's wooden chest, the one I kept locked, cracked open, and standing over it, shaking, was someone I never expected to see in my house. Someone who should not have been there. Someone who hadn't been invited, called, or allowed inside. Her back was to us. Her shoulders trembled. She was holding something in her hands, something small, something old, wrapped in cloth. When she heard us, she turned around slowly, and my knees nearly buckled, because the person standing there, the one who had broken into my room, was a woman I had not spoken to in years. A woman whose disappearance had torn my family apart. A woman I thought I would never see again. I whispered her name, barely able to breathe. Carrie, what are you doing here? And the look on her face told me. Everything I thought I knew about my family was about to collapse. For a long moment, none of us moved. The air in my bedroom felt thick, like the room was holding its breath. Dust floated through the sunlight, breaking in through the curtains, falling over Carrie like she was a ghost who had stepped out of the past. But she was no ghost. She was real. Standing right there with her hands shaking, holding something wrapped in an old blue cloth. My voice came out thin and broken. Carrie, is that really you? She blinked fast, tears gathering at the corners of her eyes. Zelma. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Her voice was the same soft voice I remembered, but there was a tremble in it now, like she'd been running for years and had finally stopped. Narelle rushed forward, shock painted all over her face. Carrie. You weren't supposed to be here. Carrie's eyes snapped to her, wide, terrified, angry. You told me nobody would be home until tonight. My stomach dropped. So they had been planning something. Something behind my back. Something in my own house. Harlan stepped in front of me slightly, protective without even thinking. Carrie, why did you break into my sister's home? Carrie let out a soft, broken laugh. Break in. This house is as much mine as any of yours. The words hit the room like a slap. I felt my body jolt. My hands tightened around the doorframe. Carrie, what are you talking about? She looked at me, really looked at me, and I could see something in her eyes I had never seen before. Not confusion. Not anger. Claim. A claim to something she believed belonged to her. Narelle tried to cover it quickly. She doesn't mean it like that. But Carrie cut her off sharply. Yes, I do. I mean every word. She held the cloth to her chest. I grew up in this house, Zelma. I slept in that small room down the hall. I ate at that kitchen table every morning before school. Your mama raised me right alongside you and Harlan. I shook my head slowly. No, honey. You stayed with us for one summer. One. Your mama was sick. We helped. But you went back home when she got better. Carrie's face twisted with pain. I didn't go home. She didn't get better. She died the next month. Zelma. My heart fell. I hadn't known that. I hadn't known any of it. Carrie's voice broke. I had nowhere to go. Nowhere. Your mama took me in. I lived here for years while you were busy working 2 jobs. I grew up in this house when you were barely ever home. I felt the sting of her words, but I didn't speak. Because she wasn't lying. I had been gone a lot back then. Harlan looked away sharply, jaw tight. Carrie continued, her voice rising. Your mama called me her second daughter. She made me promise something before she died. She made me promise I would come back for what belonged to me. My share. My part of this home. The room went ice cold. My voice shook. Your share. Carrie. Mama left this house to me and Harlan. That was her will. Carrie laughed then. A painful laugh. Her will. You mean the will he hid? She turned her eyes sharply toward Harlan. And the way his face changed, the flicker of guilt, told me she wasn't making it up. My heart beat so loudly I could hear the rushing in my ears. Harlan. What is she talking about? He didn't speak. Not right away. Carrie took a step forward, the cloth still clutched in her hands. Your mama wrote another will. A newer one. She wrote it 6 months before she died, and she put my name in it, Zelma. She left me a part of this house. She left all of us family. My knees weakened. Harlan whispered softly. Carrie. Enough. She shook her head fiercely. No. Not enough. I kept quiet for years because I trusted you. You told me to wait. You told me you were taking care of it. You told me you had the papers. I turned to Harlan slowly. Harlan. Is this true? His chest lifted with one long breath. Then another. He didn't deny it. He couldn't. Z, he said finally, I was trying to protect you. Protect me. From what? Carrie answered before he could. From losing the house after Mama died. From the taxes. From everything that was falling apart back then. The will she wrote left the house to you. To Harlan. And to me. I felt dizzy. My hand gripped the chest of drawers to steady myself. Harlan spoke again, voice low. If the house had been split 3 ways, none of us would have kept it. We would have lost everything Mama worked for. So He swallowed hard. I hid the new will. And filed the old one instead. Silence. Deep. Painful. Heavy. I pressed my hand to my forehead. My brother, my only living sibling, had hidden our mother's last words from me. But Carrie wasn't done. She lifted the blue cloth. Unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a folded document. Yellowed with age, tied with a faded ribbon. My breath caught. Mama's handwriting was visible through the fold. Carrie whispered, "This is the real will. And I came back for it. Before your son and his wife tried to get rid of you, I thought I could finally claim what Mama promised me." I felt the tears burning in my eyes. Everything I believed. Everything I trusted. Everything I thought I knew. Shifted beneath my feet. Narelle jumped in quickly, trying to regain control. This doesn't change anything. The house is still valuable. We can. Harlan turned and glared at her, so sharply she stepped back. Carrie held the will out toward me. Here. Zelma. Take it. Read your mama's truth for yourself. My fingers trembled as I reached for it. Before I could touch it. Before my skin brushed the paper. A voice boomed from the hallway. Nobody is touching that document. We all spun toward the door. Standing there was a man in a tan jacket, tall and stern, holding a thin leather case. The county probate officer. How he got in. Who called him. Why he was here. None of us knew. He stepped inside slowly, scanning the room. His words sent a chill through my bones. We have a problem. A big one. And it concerns every single person in this house. The probate officer stepped fully into the room, his shoes crunching on the broken pieces of glass scattered across my bedroom floor. His presence shifted everything. The tension that had been rising between us all suddenly tightened into a single sharp point. His voice was calm, steady, but firm. My name is Mr. Rowan Pike, probate and estate officer for Alder Springs County. We need to talk. Right now. My throat tightened. Why are you here? Who called you? He didn't look at me. He looked at Harlan. And that answer alone made my stomach twist. You again, Mr. Pike said. We spoke earlier. About the discrepancy in your mother's estate documents. The room went still. Cold. Silent. Harlan's jaw clenched. I told you I would handle it. No, you told me you misplaced a document, Mr. Pike replied flatly. But we received a call this afternoon that made me prioritize this situation. A call. From who? I looked at Lennox. He shook his head quickly. Narelle looked confused. Carrie looked terrified. Then my eyes landed on the only person who looked resigned. Harlan. My voice cracked. Harlan. What did you do? He didn't answer. Mr. Pike continued. Last week, a staff member found a sealed envelope marked for probate review inside a misplaced county file. It matched your mother's handwriting. We've been trying to reach the family since then. My heart sank. But today, he added, we received a second call. From someone claiming there was an attempt to force a vulnerable adult out of her home. He turned toward me. That vulnerable adult is you. My knees weakened. The room swayed. Lennox stepped forward. Sir, wait. This is all a misunderstanding. Mr. Pike held up a hand. Quiet. All of you. He looked at Carrie next. Miss Robinson. You reported this house break-in. Carrie dropped her eyes. Yes. But only because I panicked. They said nobody would be home, and then everything happened so fast. Mr. Pike nodded. We confirmed your identity. And yes, your name appears as a beneficiary in the updated will. A wave of heat flooded my face. So it was real. All of it. My mother had left this house to all three of us. Mr. Pike held out his hand toward the cloth in Carrie's grip. Give me the document. Carrie's fingers tightened. No. I'm giving it to Zelma. He sighed. Miss Robinson, the law requires me to take possession of the will until it is authenticated. I stepped forward, my breath shaking. Let her give it to me first. Let me see my mama's words before anybody tries to twist them. Mr. Pike softened just a little. Mrs. Cade, you will see it. I promise. But the document must be handled by the county to avoid tampering or accusations of fraud. Fraud. That word sent a cold shock down my spine. I turned slowly toward my brother. Harlan. What did you hide? He closed his eyes like the truth was too heavy to lift. Before he could answer, Lennox spoke up suddenly. Look, everybody just calm down. All Mama has to do is... Narelle shoved his arm. Stop talking. You're digging the hole deeper. Mr. Pike looked between them sharply. You two. Step back. Do not speak unless spoken to. They both went quiet. Then Mr. Pike's eyes returned to Harlan. This is your last chance to tell your sister the truth before I say it for you. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. Harlan finally opened his mouth. I didn't mean to lie to you, Z, he said quietly. I was trying to keep the family together. Mama wrote a new will. One that included all three of us. But she wrote it while she was sick. She wasn't thinking straight sometimes. She made decisions based on emotion, not logic. And He paused. I made the choice to bury that will. To protect the house. To protect you. My eyes filled with tears. Protect me. By lying to me. By hiding Mama's last words. By deciding you had the right to shape my whole life without me knowing. Z, please. I raised my hand sharply. Don't. But Mr. Pike wasn't finished. There's more. The words froze my blood. More. Mr. Pike looked directly at me. Mrs. Cade. I need you to prepare yourself. My heart pounded so fast the room blurred around me. Your mother filed a handwritten statement the same day as the updated will. A personal note addressed to you. And to you alone. A note. For me. My breath caught. What did she write? Mr. Pike reached into his leather case. Pulled out a sealed envelope. My name written in my mother's familiar looping script. My knees gave way at the sight of it. I grabbed the dresser to stay upright. He held it out. This belonged to your mother. And it was meant to be read only by you. But I need to warn you. Its contents may affect how the estate is distributed. Narelle leaned forward abruptly. What does that mean for us? For us. That bitterness inside me rose again. Mr. Pike didn't look at her. He kept his eyes on me. Mrs. Cade, open it. My hands trembled as I took the envelope. The paper felt old. Soft. Warm, like it had been protected for years. I slid my thumb under the seal. The room was dead silent. Even the air didn't move. I unfolded the letter. My mama's handwriting spilled across the page. And the moment my eyes reached the second line, the breath left my lungs. My heart stopped. My knees buckled. I sank onto the bed, hard, because what she wrote, what she confessed, what she revealed, was something so heavy, so life-changing, so completely unexpected, that I whispered the words out loud without meaning to. Oh my God. Mama, why didn't you tell me? Everyone stared. Nobody breathed. Lennox stepped forward. Mama, what does it say? I looked up slowly, my hands shaking uncontrollably. The truth in that letter was bigger than the house, bigger than the will, bigger than anything any of us expected. And with my voice barely more than a whisper, I said the words that changed everything. It says, one of you is not who you think you are. The room erupted. But the truth, the one buried in that letter, was deeper, much deeper. And what it revealed was going to tear the foundation of our family apart, brick by brick. You. The room erupted in questions, voices clashing, footsteps shuffling, breaths quick and uneven. But I couldn't hear any of it clearly. Everything felt far away, muffled, like I was underwater. Because the letter in my shaking hands, my mother's last words to me, held a truth I never expected to face at 64 years old. Narelle stepped forward first, voice sharp. What does that mean? Which one of us? Tell us. Lennox's voice cracked. Mama, please. What did Grandma write? Carrie clutched the cloth in her arms. Zelma, talk to us. What did she say? Even Harlan, silent, steady Harlan, looked shaken. Z. What's in the letter? But I couldn't look at any of them. My eyes were stuck on the words written in my mother's faint, careful handwriting. I drew in a breath, slow, painful, and forced myself to read it out loud. My voice trembled with every sentence. My dear Zelma, if you are reading this, it means I did not get the chance to tell you the truth myself. And this truth may break your heart before it heals it. The room froze. I continued. There is something you do not know about Harlan. Something I hid for many years because I feared what it would do to our family. Harlan is not your full brother. He is not your father's child. My voice cracked. My chest tightened. Lennox gasped. Narelle's hand flew to her mouth. But that wasn't the worst part. My eyes slid down the page to the next lines, written shakier, like Mama's hand had trembled. Harlan's father was a man I loved before your father. A man who was already married. A man whose family would never have accepted him having a child with me. So he made me promise to keep it secret. And when you grew older, I feared the truth would tear you and Harlan apart. So I stayed silent. I lowered the letter for a moment. My vision blurred. Harlan didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. He just stared at me with a look so broken it made my soul hurt. But the letter wasn't finished. I forced myself to read the last part. Zelma, my sweet girl, if anything ever happens to me, you must protect your brother from the truth. He is fragile in ways you may never see. Promise me you will love him anyway. Promise me you will keep him safe. Promise me you will never let him feel like he is not part of this family. My voice cracked again. I pressed a shaking hand to my mouth. The last line was the one that cut the deepest. And if this secret ever comes out, please forgive me. Forgive me for not trusting you enough to carry it while I was still alive. By the time I lowered the letter, the room was trembling with tension. Narelle whispered. So he's not actually your blood. Carrie stepped forward, eyes softening. Zelma, I didn't know. I swear I didn't. Mr. Pike exhaled slowly. Well, that explains the discrepancy in guardianship notes from. But he didn't finish, because Harlan suddenly stepped back. hard, like he had been struck. His voice came out rough. Z. Is that why you looked at me different all those years? Is that why Mama kept me out of things? Is that why? I cut him off sharply. No. Harlan, look at me. I didn't know. I never knew. Mama never told me a word. He shook his head, eyes filling with something dark and painful. She always treated you like her anchor. I thought. His voice broke. I thought she kept her distance from me because I disappointed her. Not because. He looked down at his hands. Not because I wasn't his. My heart twisted. I reached for him. Harlan, you are my brother. Nothing in this letter changes that. Nothing. But he stepped back again, pulling away. That wasn't the end of it. Because Carrie spoke up next. So, if Zelma and Harlan aren't full siblings, what does that mean for the will? Does it even count the same way anymore? Her voice stirred something in Narelle. Something sharp. Narelle suddenly straightened. Wait. If he's not her full brother, that means his claim to the house is different. We could. She stopped quickly when she saw the look I gave her. A look that said, not another word. Mr. Pike cleared his throat. Actually, there's more you all need to hear. I turned to him sharply. More. More than this. He nodded. Yes. Because the letter isn't the only document your mother left behind. He reached into his leather case again. Pulled out a second envelope. A thicker one. This one is an amendment. Written by your mother 3 months before she passed. It adjusts the will again. And this time, it changes everything. My breath caught. The room leaned. My heart threatened to stop again. Narelle's voice rose. What did she write? Tell us. But Mr. Pike didn't look at her. Didn't look at Lennox. Didn't look at Carrie. He looked straight at me. Mrs. Cade. Your mother changed the will. Again. And she named a new heir. A single heir. The room froze solid. Every gaze turned to me. My voice cracked. A new heir. Who did Mama choose? Me. Harlan. Carrie. Mr. Pike shook his head slowly. No. None of you. My stomach dropped. Then who? Who is the heir? He opened the envelope slowly. Pulled out the amended document. His eyes moved across the page. Then he looked up at us. Your mother left the house. To someone else entirely. We all held our breath. Mr. Rowan Pike spoke the name clearly. She left the house to Lennox Cade. My son. My only child. The room exploded into chaos. But inside me, everything went quiet. Because if this was true, if Mama really left the house to Lennox, then the fight we were all having, the betrayal, the lies, the guilt, the anger, the secrets, was nothing compared to what was coming next. And what was coming next was a storm none of us were prepared for. The room spiraled into chaos the moment Mr. Rowan Pike said my son's name. Lennox Cade. My mama, his grandmother, had left the entire house to him. Narelle gasped, stepping back like someone had shoved her. To Lennox. No. No, that can't be right. That house should have come to us. It should. Mr. Pike raised a hand. Ma'am, don't finish that sentence. Harlan stared at the floor, shoulders tight. Carrie blinked hard, shock flooding her face. Even the air in the room felt heavier. But me. I didn't move. I felt like my feet had grown roots right into the floor. I stared at Lennox. My boy. The same child I had carried through storms, nursed through fevers, and raised with everything inside me. His eyes were wide with confusion. Mama. I swear I didn't know anything about this. Mr. Pike cleared his throat. This amendment is signed, dated, and notarized. And in the absence of legal challenges, the decision is final. Narelle moved so fast it startled everyone. She walked right up to Lennox, grabbed his arm, and whispered fiercely, "See, we don't have to wait for her to move out. The house is ours now." Lennox yanked his arm away, face breaking. "Narelle, stop. Just stop. This is my mama. You think I would put her out of her own home? You think I would watch them treat her like she's nothing?" He shook his head, voice cracking. "I don't want the house. Not like this." Narelle froze. Her mouth dropped open in disbelief. Like he had just betrayed her. She turned to me now, anger blazing in her eyes. "Why did your mama leave it to him? Why not you? Why not the brother? Why not the girl who lived here for years? Why?" She stopped abruptly when Mr. Pike spoke. "Because. There's an explanation." Every head snapped in his direction. "Your mother wrote a note on the back of the amendment." He turned the paper over. "It's addressed to you, Mrs. Cade." I swallowed. My throat was thick. My palms cold. "Read it," I whispered. Mr. Pike lifted the document and read. "I leave this home to Lennox. Not because I want to take from you, Zelma, but because I want to give something to your child. Something you never had the chance to receive. A place where he can always come home. A place that cannot be taken from him. A place of family, after so much loss. Your brother carries secrets. Carrie carries pain. But Lennox carries your heart. And I trust you to guide him in using this home with love, not selfishness. Please, my daughter, do not let this house divide you. Use it to bring you all back together." My breath trembled. A tear slipped down my cheek. "Mama." I wasn't angry. Not anymore. I understood. My mother didn't give the house to Lennox because she wanted to punish anyone. She did it because she trusted me. Trusted me to guide him, protect him, and keep the family from falling apart. The room was silent. Too silent. Then Narelle exploded. "This is ridiculous. We've been trying to get this house for months. We deserve." This time Lennox didn't hesitate. He pointed at the door. "Get out." Narelle blinked. You're kicking me out." "Me? Your wife?" Lennox nodded, voice steady now. "Yes. Get your things and go. You crossed every line. You put your hands on my mama. You tried to lie on her name. You tried to take her home. And now you're done." Narelle looked around the room, searching for someone to side with her. No one spoke. No one moved. No one stood beside her. She stormed out of the room with a loud stomp, grabbed her purse, and slammed the door behind her so hard the walls shook. The house finally exhaled. Lennox turned to me, tears slipping down his cheeks. "Mama. I'm sorry. I let her talk me into things. I let her push me. I should have protected you. I'm so sorry." I pulled him into a hug. A long one. The kind only a mother can give. I whispered into his shoulder. "You didn't fail me. You came back. That's what matters." He cried harder. Harlan stepped forward next. His voice soft, broken. "Z. Can you ever forgive me?" I walked to him and put my hand on his face. "You are my brother. Nothing is strong enough to undo that. We start over. Together." He pulled me into a hug, his shoulders finally sinking. Carrie approached last. Her voice shaky. "I don't want to take the house from anyone. I just wanted to be remembered." I took her hand. "You were never forgotten. Stay. Help us rebuild this family." She nodded, tears falling. Mr. Pike closed his folder. "Seems like this home will be in good hands after all." He walked to the door. "If any of you need guidance during the transition, call my office." And with that, he left. The house finally felt quiet again. Warm again. Like it belonged to us. Not in pieces. Not in secrets. But together. Lennox wiped his eyes. "Mama. What do you want to do now?" I looked around my little bedroom. The broken chest. The scattered memories. The letter on my lap. The people I loved standing around me. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something lift inside me. I smiled softly. We are going to fix this house. We are going to fix this family. And we are going to do it with love, not fear. Lennox took my hand. Whatever you need, Mama. I'm here. I nodded. I know, baby. I know. Then I turned to the camera of life, the part of me that knew people were watching this story unfold, and spoke from my heart. To everyone listening. If this story has touched you, if you want to hear more powerful and emotional stories like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from, so I can feel your support from all over the world. Your love keeps these stories alive. I took one last breath and stepped out of the room, feeling lighter, stronger, and finally free. My house was safe. My family was healing. And I had won. Not with bitterness, but with grace.